Anyway, let's watch Scott do his thing while the liberal panelists prove to everyone watching how stupid they actually are. Let's go.
Part of it is the disconnect between having heard President Trump, for example, and the Biden administration calling for the release of the Epstein files, which, yes, Biden could have released them too. But then now that he's in the position to do that, we're not seeing any of that happen. It's this, right, but they're not being released. So the challenge that when you have people who work in the FBI threatening to resign because they feel that this core MAGA issue was mishandled, that's a challenge in your coalition. Now, what we don't hear is President Trump saying, like Tucker Carlson, saying that he wants to either take over the entire Republican Party, reshape it in his image. So what is the message from this president that now brings this coalition back together now that it's fracturing?
So can we just go to the data, CNN's own data from our own data analyst Harry Hinton? President Trump has an 87% approval rating among Republicans, which is higher than Barack Obama's approval rating among Democrats at this point in his term, higher than where George W. Bush was in his term. He is the strongest, for his own party, strongest president at this point in his second term in the modern era. That's number one. Number two, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I think, had a falling out with the president over politics. He showed her a poll that said she couldn't win statewide in Georgia.
That's exactly
she got mad. She got mad. And by the way, she stands with a group of isolationists who just happen to disagree with the president over, say, taking away Iran's nuclear weapons and some other issues. That's fine. He's the president. She's not. And if you want to talk about whether the president has a hold on his party or whether he's a lame duck, I'll just submit that when he withdrew his endorsement of Greene, she lasted a week and then had to resign from Congress. That's not weakness. That is
a couple things about, I do wonder if this issue of the isolationism that Marjorie Taylor Greene and maybe the Tucker Carlson espouse is part of the problem here, because Trump attracted them into the party because he kind of seemed isolationist at times. But now everybody is wondering, is that really what he is? I mean, I think some of the ideological confusion is part of the story here.
It is very hard to see how you can give $40 billion to Argentina.
We didn't give them. We did a currency swap.
But you gave them 20.
And we made a profit on it.
But you gave them 20.
And then say that Europe is a problem and they're not doing enough, and that Ukraine, everything should resolve itself
I don't
magically.
think it's Marjorie Taylor Greene's fault that she thought that Trump was an isolationist.
No, actually,
I think part of the problem is that Trump's vision for politics is whatever Trump wants.
No,
and all of those other people, but Scott, there are isolationists in the MAGA tent. What happens to them? Do they just go away? Do they just go away?
Look, here's the deal. A lot of people tried to ascribe their own personal views to Trump, and they tried to, I guess, influence him into their own personal views or make their personal views stick to him. He has actually, on the issue of Iran, shown extreme moral clarity about this for decades. He has always said they cannot be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. In his first term, he fired cruise missiles into Syria. We took out Soleimani. Trump has never been an isolationist, and anybody walking around in 2025 who thinks that he is being willfully blind or just stupid. He has been for smart engagement. He's not for adventurism, but he's been for smart engagement since he came on the national scene.
So while that one chick tries to prove Trump isn't delivering on his promises, the premise of her argument is that Trump won't release the Epstein files. The only way that you could possibly use that talking point is if you haven't followed the news in weeks. Trump literally signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act 11 days ago. It's law. The DOJ literally has a legal deadline to release the unclassified records. So you may be asking yourself, then why is she still using this? Well, because she's pulling from a script that never updates. Even when the reality changes, their arguments don't. Then they go into this idea that conservatives are suddenly shocked to learn that Trump isn't an isolationist. Conservatives watched him handle foreign policy for 4 years once already. They already know exactly who he is. And for the record, the only people who ever tried to redefine America First as isolationism were networks like theirs. And they're still pretending that narrative was real. It wasn't then, and it isn't now.